You're listening to episode 14 of Literacy in Color. In today's coaching conversation, we're exploring the role and responsibilities of a literacy coach with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Alison Kantor. Alison is a passionate literacy advocate with a deep commitment to empowering both students and educators. Her journey into structured literacy began during her time as an interventionist when she was introduced to the Orton-Gillingham approach. Inspired and eager to learn more, Alison pursued Orton-Gillingham certification through Fairleigh Dickinson University and became certified in spring of 2019. Later that year, Alison stepped into the role of literacy coach in her district, bringing her expertise and passion for systematic, explicit, and diagnostic instruction to her colleagues. Despite the challenges of the pandemic, Alison's dedication to supporting teachers and students never wavered. Today, Alison continues to make an impact as a literacy coach, Orton-Gillingham teacher trainer, and a dyslexia specialist in training at FDU. Her mission is to equip educators with the knowledge and tools to teach all students how to read, ensuring every learner has the opportunity to succeed. I can't wait for you to listen to this coaching conversation. Welcome to the Literacy in Color podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Sullivan, a science of reading advocate with over a decade of experience as a reading interventionist and literacy coach. I'm passionate about making evidence-based instruction both effective and engaging. If you're interested in captivating our learners on reading fluently and understanding language, or as I like to call it, keeping it colorful, then you've found the right place. Each week, we'll explore intriguing lit bits and practical strategies around the science of reading and structured literacy to help you be colorful and teach colorfully. Are you ready to bring literacy to life? Let's color outside the lines and make an impact together. Hello, everyone. We are wrapping up our coaching conversations, and this episode is super special to me because we're talking to one of my all-time favorite people in the whole wide world, Alison Kantor. And you know you have a good friend when you can say they're a Starbucks drink. She's a matcha with oat milk and a pump of chai. So Alison and I work on the same coaching team together, and she literally is my sidekick, words nerd. I have no words. She's just a wonderful human being. So I am excited to talk about the role of a literacy coach with her today because I know that we have a powerhouse team and she has so much to share on this topic. So welcome to the show, Alison.
Thank you, Michelle. I am so happy to be here. I am just enamored by all of this. You are amazing.
Oh, thank you. So I want to start out with a little introduction. So would you share with my listeners a little bit about you and your coaching journey, how long you've been in this role?
Sure. So a little background first. So I was a classroom teacher in grades 2, 3, and 4 for about 8 years. And then I became an academic support teacher, a reading interventionist. I was in 5th grade first, and then 3rd grade. And my first year in that role, my district had brought in a brilliant woman named Judy Shapiro. She was the director of the Children's Dyslexia Center that trained scholars in the Orton-Gillingham method. And as she spoke about this systematic, explicit, diagnostic approach to teaching struggling readers, my eyes had like stars and hearts and like the wolf in the old cartoons, right? And I kept turning to my friends and my colleagues and saying, why don't I know this? I need to know this. I'm teaching struggling readers. I need to know this. And so I went and spoke to the powers that be. And because our district had in the past trained cohorts of teachers, but there wasn't a plan for a new cohort in the immediate future. And I needed to know it right then. So I asked around and I found a program through Fairleigh Dickinson University and a Mason's 2-year scholarship program. And I ended up training and getting certified as an Orton-Gillingham teacher in the spring of 2019. Also, in the spring of 2019, a literacy coach position opened up in my district, in our district. And I knew that I wanted to make a difference, and it was a greater difference. I'm certainly working in the classroom and working in the academic support room in small groups. Teaching reading was amazing, but I saw maybe 20 kids. And so the idea of being a literacy coach and being able to teach the teachers and work with the teachers really just felt like the right thing. So I applied and I got the job. And I started in the fall of 2019. And then we all remember what happened in March of 2020, that same school year, right? 6 months after becoming a coach, COVID. And so the following year, beginning in the fall of 2020, I taught third grade in a virtual hybrid situation in the school that I coach in. And then in the fall of 2021, we were reinstated as coaches, and I've been the literacy coach here ever since. And then this coaching journey, which we'll talk more about, but really made me realize that I really wanted to teach adults, right? How to teach our dyslexic population how to read. I wanted to give that OG training to others. And so I'm currently an OG teacher trainer, and I'm working on my dyslexia specialist certification from FDU, from Fairleigh Dickinson. So that's me.
Amazing. And yeah, you became a coach when I was pregnant with Ellie, my first one.
Yes.
And I remember our first coaching interaction. You're just like, teach me everything. I want to know everything. And there's Alison with the tunnel vision. If she has her mindset on something, she is going to learn everything there is to know about that topic. And you really found your niche in working with adults. So I am so glad that you're doing the whole OG thing now too, because that is so, so cool. You're changing so many lives.
Thank you. Yes. Definitely. It feels like I need to know it all and I need to share it all, right?
Yeah.
I want everybody to know it. Michelle and I together, right? You and I together were in the district where there was a change, right? And we were a balanced literacy district and moved to more following the science. And so I felt like it was really important that we could support that change and be the voices and the people who were there on the front lines to help our teachers. And Michelle, you were always just one of the loudest voices, which I can appreciate because usually I'm the loudest voice. So it's nice to have a loud voice too, as well.
And Alison and I would be behind closed doors and we're like, we're doing it. We're doing the thing. The changes are happening. It's so exciting. I love it. So Alison, can you talk us through a typical day in the life of a literacy coach? Like what kinds of activities and responsibilities do you manage daily? And I know every day is different, but you got a whole lot of hats to wear.
Very true. Every day is different. I start the day by opening up my computer and looking at my emails and my calendar. My Google Calendar is my savior. I put everything on it, even reminders like print XYZ. So that's how my day always begins. I also share my office with 2 other coaches. So there are a lot of people in and out all day, which is wonderful because that gives us all the opportunity to talk and chat and meet together. So the door is always open. Every year we have new teachers or we have grade level changes. And so working with those teachers, those brand new teachers on, little bits at a time to get them comfortable in their grade level. So like I said before, changing from a balanced literacy district, moving over, and we have adopted a new curriculum this year. And so in the 3rd and 4th grades, they have all gotten the new curriculum. So it has been a lot of supporting that rollout with coaching cycles. We are just finishing up my first cycle and planning my second cycle. The first cycle was really a lot of me going in modeling, working through the lessons, having those side conversations with the teachers. The second cycle coming up will look a little bit different. We're going to sit together and plan. We're going to be a little more strategic about what we're doing. I also tell the teachers as well, so this is new for all of us, right? And so part of my cycle is not only just supporting, but also learning because we're learning every day, every minute, and we're all learning together, right? So there's some modeling, there's some co-teaching, some of that. Another hat that we wear is that we're on the teams, right? We're on the INRS team, we're on the dyslexia screener team, we're on the data team, which I appreciate being a part of those teams very much. My voice feels heard. So a lot of what I do there is we review data. We look through our screener data. We look through all of our other assessment data that we use. We make goals. We make tier 1 goals for the greater classroom teachers. We make targeted goals for tier 2 and 3 students with our academic support teachers, our interventionists. We do planning, a typical day. Sometimes I go to a PLC meeting or a grade level meeting. And sometimes I'm chained to my desk because sometimes we have to do things on the computer. And while I don't love sitting at my desk, it is one part of our job. There are certain things that we need to do, like pull resources or research, or there are some things, unfortunately, that need to chain me to my computer. And so sometimes I'm at my computer doing those things as well. But like you said, Michelle, every day is different. Some days I'm doing writing. Sometimes I'm doing phonemic awareness. Sometimes I'm doing small group articulation lessons, guided phonics, some sound wall usage and best practices with the sound wall. Every day is different. And again, like I said, we are in a transition. And so even with new teachers coming in, we don't want them to get so comfortable with the old curriculum because we know the new curriculum is coming next year. And so there's been this balance of what do we really need them to know as new teachers on these grade levels, maybe not the curriculum, but they need to know the phonics, and maybe not exactly the way we like some of the way that it teaches it. So we can take some of the practices. And so kind of we're finding the balance there as well.
Yeah, it's so tricky to orchestrate everything. And we always said that when there's new curriculum, it's like the perfect time to get your foot in the door for coaching because teachers have no choice to be like, help me.
Yes.
And like you said, we're learning it together. You're learning the curriculum. The teachers are learning the curriculum. You're rolling up your sleeves and you're working through everything together, trying to figure out what does this look like in practice? So I love that. And you're so wise to help these new teachers because it's so tricky to try to navigate what's the most important thing to help them on in the moment for this school year, for this season, for this cycle. Because if you're in a transition mode and maybe some things are still not gone, right. You don't want them to get comfortable with those things. So you're really doing a lot of great content work, but people reading and trying to navigate that.
Yeah.
All right. So how would you describe the unique nature of a teacher-coach relationship? So in terms of maybe building trust or maintaining confidentiality. And for our coaches who are listening, do you have any practical tips or strategies that you use to build trust and rapport in your building or within the school district?
Such a good question. I think sometimes teachers forget that coaches are teachers. And sometimes I need my teachers to remember and know that I am a teacher too. So being a teacher alongside them, being vulnerable, trying these new things together, working together, right, with the student's best interest in mind, while also recognizing as a literacy coach that my whole life is literacy. I only think about literacy every day. But teachers in the classroom, and certainly I'm in a K-4 building, are balancing all the things. And so you have to remain balanced as a coach and remember that you are a teacher and that, like you said before, like we have tunnel vision. I only think of ELA and they can't only think of ELA. So recognizing that. I think being available and following through is so, so important to build trust with teachers. So all of your brilliant guests have said, you're not going to know the answer to every question, and that's okay. But if you say, that's a good question, let me find out, go find out and come back to them. If you say that you'll pop in a meeting or that you'll be at a coach's session or a prep or that you're going to model this lesson or whatever it is, that you show up for them. And that's how I feel that you build trust. You show up and you show them that you are to be trusted because you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And again, that doesn't mean having all the answers. Sometimes I go back to teachers and say, this is the answer that I got, or this is the answer that I found. And I'm not sure it's the best, but this is where we are. And we'll go from here, at least to let them know that I haven't forgotten about them and that I haven't forgotten about the question that they've asked or what support they need. Again, that Google Calendar. That real Google Calendar helps me so much because, and I have it on my phone too, which I know a lot of people say that it's not healthy to have your work stuff on your phone, which I know is true. And I don't walk around with my laptop all day, but I do have my phone in my pocket all day. So if a teacher says, can we talk about this? I can take my phone out and say, yes, I'm available on this day at this time. And then I put it in my Google Calendar and then I know, and then I'm there, right?
Bada bing, bada boom.
Exactly. Or I have Post-its everywhere as well, which will sometimes help. But I do, like I said, we do have an open door. I do share my office here with 2 other coaches. But when the teachers come in, the door is closed. They know that the conversations that we have, what's said in the coach's office, stays in the coach's office. And again, that comes with building trust. They know that they can come to us and we're going to talk in here, and what we say in here isn't going to go anywhere. So that's really important. Having the open door, but knowing when to close it, right? And when those teachers need that. I think another thing that helps me become coach and work with my teachers, and something that OG really helped me with and gave me, is the language that I sort of needed to help explain the decoding process. I taught 3rd and 4th grade most of my teaching career, and they came to me, quote unquote, reading, right? Most of them. And the ones that weren't reading, I didn't know how to tell them to break up the word. I just knew how to read the word. And so I didn't know all these sort of intricacies, but through OG and many other professional development courses that I've taken, I've acquired this language that I can use to help teachers understand, like the sound rules, the syllable types that I just sort of inherently knew my whole life, but couldn't really explain. But now I can explain it. And in turn, I can explain it to teachers, and then teachers explain it to their kids, and they feel more comfortable. And some of my favorite moments are when I get a text from a teacher saying, so the C is when it's followed by an E, I, or Y is when it's soft, right? And I just love it so much because, again, I'm able to give them this language. And then I say, oh my gosh, I'm so proud, right? And they're sending me clapping hand emojis and things like this. So that also sort of helps me build the trust and the rapport with teachers, is giving them practical language to use that helps sort of explain things. And sometimes, right, as we know, the answer is, it's just how it is. Like the scribal O. I mean, we can talk about it with them, with the teachers. And sometimes we tell the kids, but even just to give the teachers the language is so, so helpful. And yeah, that gave me a confidence that then I can sort of hopefully pass on to other teachers, and they can feel that confidence as well.
That's such good advice. And I love how you were talking about, you're the literacy person, you think about literacy all day long. They don't have time for that. But that's the beauty of coaching, because you can be that go-to person that they can go to for the advice and the thinking out strategies and the language that you talked about. Because let's face it, teachers don't have all the hours in the world to get knee deep in literacy unless it becomes their passion. And maybe one day they even want to become an interventionist or coach. So that's why coaching is so important. And I love those kinds of messages too. You take a screenshot and you put it in your little coaching binder as a reminder of, this is why I do the work that I do, because you're helping build teacher knowledge and in turn helping build student capacity. So amazing.
Thank you. That's the magic of coaching.
Yeah.
The magic of coaching. I feel very lucky to be able to have this position, truly. I mean, I love teaching small group reading. I loved it, but truly, and after 5 years of being a coach now, or 4 or 5 years, I truly feel very lucky that I'm able to have this position and that the teachers in my building utilize me, and that I'm just able to be in this position and making the changes that I'm able to be a part of. Just feel special and good.
And isn't it funny? I think about dinner conversations at home and family members are like, oh, I hate my job. I hate going to work. Doesn't everyone hate their job? And it's like, no.
At the doctor, actually, she was asking me if I had stress, and I said, oh, yes. But I said, it's not work stress. I love my job. I mean, of course there's stress in work, right? But I'm not going home crying that I hate my job. I love it. I'm very happy that I get to do what I do. And I recognize how lucky I am as well.
Yeah.
And I recognize how lucky I am that our district appreciates and understands the need for coaching and coaches and recognizes the work that we do. So very much appreciate it.
Yeah. And our district really has built that coaching program into something super, super special, because initially it was 2 literacy coaches. And then after a couple of years, it grew to 4 literacy coaches and 4 math science coaches and a special ed coach.
And now an ESL coach as well.
Yeah. So coaching really, really is powerful if you know how to do it. And our district really has developed a wonderful coaching program. So
very true.
It's a beautiful thing. All right. So reflecting on your experience, can you share one of your favorite coaching moments or coaching wins, or maybe just an impactful experience you want to share?
Yeah. So a few years ago, we implemented Heggerty phonemic awareness program, and we love it, of course. But at the end of the year, one of our veteran kindergarten teachers came up to me at the end of the year and said, this is the first year in all of my years teaching that every single child in my class is leaving kindergarten knowing all their letters and sounds. And it's because of the work that we've been doing. And thank you so much. And it was incredible. And I believe that we've probably all had that conversation in our schools within the district because our teachers love the phonemic awareness program and they see such a difference. But hearing the teachers say it out loud that like they know their letters and sounds because of this work. And that was an incredible moment. I like nearly cried. Right. We're having a lot of those moments now as well with our new curriculum because our teachers are so happy with a change. And so I've heard a lot, like, I love what I'm teaching, or my kids are learning so much in these first few months. It's amazing to see their growth already. So lots of good wins.
Isn't it cool how in New Jersey, there were no government mandates of like, you have to use this curriculum or you have to get this kind of training aligned with the science of reading. And initially, I was like, what the heck, New Jersey? We need to get everyone letters trained. We need to get every teacher OG trained. Yeah. And other states are paying for all of their teachers to have this training. But we, as a district, we did that all internally. And I feel like it almost gave our teachers more buy-in to the things that were coming down the pipe because we didn't overhaul everything at once. We didn't say you have to sit through this training and learn it all in 1 year. But little by little, there were small shifts and small changes, and people were seeing those impacts of those changes. And now it's like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm doing the work. Yeah. And that's because they learned about it over the course of the past few years. Since really like 2019, 2020, right? Mm-hmm. And now it's just, you don't have to work as hard to try something new.
Yeah, very true. I agree. I think the teachers seeing the difference it was making and that it still makes, you get that buy-in, and that's so important. We can tell you it's good, but you need to see that it's good for yourself, right?
Yeah, I feel like we didn't even really have teachers fighting to keep level text too much. It was like, okay, this isn't working. Show me something new.
Yes.
And they soaked it right up. They're like, get me decodables.
Right. And then when we made the shift from guided reading to guided phonics and really giving them, again, the language, the tools to say, this is how you teach them how to read, then they can read level text eventually because, right, all level text, you can read any level text as long as you have the code to crack it, right?
At the end of the day, it's just a book.
It's just a book. The level doesn't matter as long as you know how to read it.
Love it. So what would you say is one of the biggest challenges that comes with coaching? I know you love your job, but
I do.
It's not all easy.
But it's definitely not easy. And keeping up, I think, is one of the hardest things. Wanting to be in many places at the same time, needing to be on top of so many things, documents, curriculum. We have new teachers. We have new curriculum. We have grade level changes. There's a lot of places that we need to be at once. And I think that's sort of the hardest thing, is being able to manage it and prioritize and try things. And if it doesn't work, you try something different the next time. I think truly that's my biggest struggle, is keeping it all. I have the Google Calendar, but I also have the Post-its, and I have the list of things I have to do. And we wear many different hats. And so I think that's the biggest challenge for me now, is sort of keeping up with all of it. Google Calendar.
Yeah. And even with a good system like your Google Calendar, it's still just so much to orchestrate that it's a lot to just hold in your brain in terms of scheduling and people and programs and just all the things. Mm-hmm. So it's tricky.
And I do like to, those hallway chats where you'll be walking with a teacher and they'll say like something that you want to follow up with, and you have to remember it in your brain. I like run back to my office and like jot it down because I don't want it to just go away. I want to make sure that I'm following through. So yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot. It's all the tabs open in your brain at once, right?
Yeah. And our supervisor, she was always like, in the morning, it's such a great time to do rounds walking around the school before the students are even in the classrooms. You're walking around, popping into classrooms, seeing who needs some support. That's a good time for teachers to usually find you and get something going in terms of a new coaching cycle or something like that. All right, Alison, what is one key piece of advice that you would give to someone who's just starting out as a literacy coach?
So I think certainly figure out what organization works for you, what you like to use. It took me some trial and error to figure out what worked best for me. And I know I touched on this already, but the follow-up and the follow-through is so important. just like with our students, they will not learn from you if they don't trust you. And if you don't show up for them, they won't show up for you. And the same is true with teachers. So it's okay to not have answers. It's okay to come back later. It's okay to I've had to reschedule things. Things come up, things happen. It's you do need to be flexible, but don't let it die. If you have to reschedule, make sure you reschedule, right? If you said you're going to make some copies, make the copies. If you said you're going to help with assessment, if whatever that is, just follow through and make sure that you're showing up for your teachers just the same way you would with your own students.
The wise words of Alison Kantor. Show up and follow up.
That's it, right? Even if it doesn't look the way that you might want it to look, it's okay. Just prove that you're someone that they can rely on, because that's really a huge part of our job.
Yeah. And if anyone is a perfectionist out there, I know I can be, you got to let that go. Nothing's going to be perfect. And even I'm thinking in terms of lessons. I remember my first year coaching and doing a lesson in fifth grade. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I've never taught fifth grade before. I'm so scared. I'm going to prepare for this lesson for 5,000 hours to teach for 10 minutes. And no, we can't do that, because how are teachers supposed to recreate that? They don't have 10,000 hours to work on this. You need to streamline things yourself, show them how it's going to be practical, and just do the job.
Absolutely.
Do it well, but just got to get it done, like Nike.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So this is a just for fun question, but for all the literacy coach guests on this series, I'm asking them, what are your top 3 must-have tools that you think every literacy coach should have in their coaching toolkit?
So number 1, I think you could probably already guess, is my Google Calendar. A calendar, some way to organize your dates and times and things that, if you're not a Google person, any sort of calendar will do. But I feel that a calendar is so important.
Oh, and what I did, I like to have my grade levels color coded. I made kindergarten red, first grade orange, second grade yellow.
Michelle, same.
At a glance, you can see which grade level you're working with the most.
Same color code, but we are colorful and we like that. You don't have to color code for everyone listening out there, but we do like a color code.
So true.
The second thing that I bring around with me, because I have to be a mobile classroom, is I have a tackle box filled with all sorts of fun literacy materials, like some little mini cars, some little mini poppets. I have Unifix cubes. I have highlighters. I have colored pens. I have chips. Then I have letter cards, just, plain letters. I have mini whiteboards and the whiteboard markers. I have a teeny tiny Elkonin box board. I have a small syllable tapping board. I have mirrors, and I have those bumpy shields that are, what are they called? Crochet.
Yeah. The bumpy boards.
Yeah, the bumpy boards, the crochet boards. So I have a little bit of those things, and I bring them with me so that I can show teachers that whatever I'm showing you is something that you can do with everything that you have in your classroom already. It doesn't need to be fancy. We use Post-its, we use pens, we use math manipulatives. That's it. We don't need super fancy things. So I always have that tackle box with me whenever I'm doing anything small group or phonics related. And then the third thing I would say is to have resources that you can rely on. So wonderful podcasts, blogs, social media accounts like Michelle in the Colorful Classroom, of course, and so many others that we follow. I think it's good to have outside places you can look and have, we have our favorite books. And so those are also good, as well as resources, but also keeping up with the latest. So I guess resources I would also say is professional development for coaching as well, in the knowledge or in the practice, but just continue to learn and grow, because as we're all educators here and we're always learning. So it's good to have resources that you can learn from and that you can rely on.
Love that. And even in the resource aspect, we could lump in coaching community, because I feel like having a coach PLC was really impactful to just improve your own craft in coaching. And if we would do PDs, we would go to each other's and it's like, give me feedback. How should I have reworded this? Or how could I share this information in a different way? And having someone else with a coaching lens, give you advice on that is always been really, really great too.
So true. We don't get observed unless we're being observed for administration purposes, right? So it's always good to have someone coaching you as well.
Yeah. Coach the coach.
Yeah,
That's how you stay on your A game.
absolutely.
All right, Allison, this has been so much fun. I feel like I want to just give you a big squeeze.
Me too.
I'm so thankful that you've come on the show, and I'll definitely have to have you back talking about coaching some more, because I know you have so much wisdom to share on this topic, and you are such a light in the world and a light in your district, just changing the world one reader at a time. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to chat again soon.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you so much for putting out all this amazing information and keeping everybody up to date with best practices and the science and all your colorful, beautiful things. And thank you so much for having me. And I can't wait to come back.
Yay! Thank you so much for tuning into Literacy in Color. I hope today's episode left you feeling both inspired and equipped with something new to add to your teaching toolkit. If you're enjoying this podcast, it would truly mean so much to me if you'd leave a 5-star review. It helps other educators find the show and join our colorful community. And don't forget to hit the follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode. For more tips, tools, and resources, be sure to check out the links in the show notes at michelleandthecolorfulclassroom.com. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week. Until then, be colorful and teach colorfully.